Now, May, the month of May, this is actually Cystic Fibrosis Awareness Month. Many of us may not be too familiar with it, but this genetic condition affects hundreds of Kiwis, making their everyday life a struggle. For over 50 years, Cystic Fibrosis New Zealand has been a vital source of support, advocacy, and hope for people living with CF, as they continue to push for better access to treatments, earlier diagnosis and increased awareness. From lobbying for life-changing medications like Trifara to helping families navigate the daily challenges of this condition, the organisation plays a key role in improving the quality of life for people with cystic fibrosis and their families. The CEO is Lisa Burns, and she is with me now. Lisa, good afternoon.
Hi, Leah. How are you doing?
I am doing great. Thank you very much. And I appreciate your time today, Lisa, being in the month of cystic fibrosis awareness. The first question's got to be exactly what is it and how many roundabout New Zealanders are affected by it?
Yeah, no problem. So cystic fibrosis is a lifelong genetic condition. It is often diagnosed at birth through the heel prick test. So anyone who has who's had a baby, their child will go through the heel prick test, and that's often when the first sign of an issue can be detected, although in some cases actually they know before the baby is born that there is a potential issue. So, so cystic fibrosis basically affects almost every organ in the body, but the primary ones would be the lungs, the liver, and the digestive system, and it basically clogs up your pipes, if you want to call them that, with a thick, sticky mucus. Oh. So basically everything becomes clogged, and it makes it really difficult for the liver to do its job, for the digestive system to function properly, and particularly for the lungs, can be a breeding ground for bacteria and infections.
Is it a fatal condition, Lisa? Is there a life expectancy number, age?
Yeah, so currently the life expectancy in New Zealand is still 31 years of age, which is still very low compared to the rest of the world. Australia, who've had Trifara funded for a year longer than New Zealand, their life expectancy has increased to 55 years.
Yeah, incredible,
so we anticipate that from Trifara that the New Zealand life expectancy will increase, but we haven't had enough data yet to be able to say what that is. Yeah. But I think the key message here is it's still not normal life expectancy, and so it is lifelong. So it can become a life-threatening condition, and everybody's journey with cystic fibrosis is very different.
Yeah. So you can get tested as a baby, as a newborn. Does it affect males and females equally in terms of inheritance and health outcomes?
That's a good question. I don't actually know the answer to that one. But I mean, we do have a real mix of male and female people with CF in our community. In terms of the exact split, I don't know if it would be 50-50 or one more than the other. But certainly, there's just over 600 people currently living in New Zealand with CF. And I think one of the things that a lot of people don't know is that 1 in 25 people actually carry the gene that can cause cystic fibrosis. Yeah.
Oh, wow. No, that's so 1 in 25 can actually carry the gene. So that's, of course, why the test at birth, but about 600 are actually living with it in New Zealand. How much support does your organisation receive from the government, Lisa?
We do receive support in terms of we do receive money through a contract with Te Whatu Ora, which helps to contribute towards our social worker service.
Right, but it's quite minimal, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
it costs us about $500,000 a year for our 4 social workers
Yeah.
to support the New Zealand community living with CF, and that's
Yeah.
everyone from the top of the North Island to the bottom of the South Island. And the rest of
And you've only
our
got
money
4,
comes
Lisa.
from, yeah,
4.
yeah.
Oh,
They do work really hard.
yeah.
So the
So,
rest of our funds comes from fundraising, from donations, grants.
yeah.
Essentially the kindness of Kiwis helps to keep our services being delivered
Running.
to,
And
to New Zealand to
I
families.
can imagine, Lisa, that Cystic Fibrosis New Zealand, you are like other organisations, I think you get about 4% from the government, and you're having to raise the rest. And in this last couple of years with this cost of living crisis, as much as Kiwis are very generous, they are pulling back on things where they were supporting charities or certain organisations. Have you noticed it's been a little bit more of a struggle in the last year or so, or couple of years?
Absolutely. So the cost of living crisis has definitely made an impact on our revenue. We also faced a really difficult challenge when Trifara was funded, because there was a real perception that Trifara had solved the problem of CF. And so there was a lot of perception out there that because we got access to funding Trifara, it meant that people with CF no longer needed support. And so we have been trying really hard for the last 2 years to educate the public that Trifara is not for everyone. We still have a lot of people in the CF community who aren't able to access that medicine. And we need to continue to provide support. So even though hospitalisations for age over 6 who've got access to Trifara, even though those hospitalisations we know have decreased by 50%, the increase on our social workers has been much higher. So the costs have shifted from Te Whatu Ora and the healthcare system into the community organisation needing to provide more support to people with CF and their families.
Yeah. Can we take a quick look at Trifara, Lisa, because I know you mentioned it a few times, and it was a real game changer, obviously, and Pharmac started funding it in 2023, but that followed years of advocacy and pushing hard for it. And you have mentioned, but there are still gaps, aren't there? For example, who can actually get it? Are there still young children, like under, you mentioned 6? Are they not, that they can't qualify for it?
That's right. So the current access is for 6 and over.
Right.
And we are lucky to have access that covers a lot of the rarer mutations. So it gives Kiwis access, some of the widest access in the world to access Trifara. But now in more than 30 countries, those countries also have access down to 2 years of age.
Okay.
And so an application is currently going through Pharmac for Trifara 2 to 5. And we are working very closely with Vertex, who is the supplier, and Pharmac, to highlight the urgent need for our 2 to 5, due to basically the damage that can occur in the first few years of life. We want to try and avoid that if it's possible. Yeah.
Yes. And I mean, I would have thought with your figures that you mentioned, around about 600 people in New Zealand with CF, the numbers of under 6, so your young ones, like you said, your 2-year-olds, the number wouldn't be that big, would it, Lisa? I'm just kind of, I know it's always money, it's about money, but you would think, right, with Trifara, sorry, that there wouldn't be a large number, I would think, of under 2s, under 6s.